Hello, and today we'll be playing Zomewhere Else. After a few more minutes of walking, you just found yourself at a clearing with a large cabin-like structure situated in the center. For some reason, it feels strangely familiar. As you follow Martha up to the cabin, a look of confusion spreads across Fred's face. Right, this is Bruce's place. What? Martha, your mom lives there? The moth nods, beckoning you to continue following while pointing towards the cabin. Then he climbs the steps out front and pushes straight through the front door. Fred follows close behind them while you awkwardly stand outside, hesitant to go any further. Alright, after a few seconds you realize that you don't really have a choice, so against your bare judgment and every fiber of your being telling you not to, you head inside. Nervously stepping through to the front door, you give the inside quick once over. There's a table, a fireplace, a bookshelf filled completely with wooden material, and an assortment of other amenities and furniture. It's probably some kind of hunter's lodge then. You finally notice that one of the beds is occupied with Fred and Martha standing on either side. Bruce lays between them, shirtless, with a blanket covering his lower half. What catches your gaze the most, though, are a pair of long, whisker-like appendages extending out from the sides of his muzzle. They seem to be ambiently wriggling around on their own. Each bears a sort of tiger paw at the end. This is definitely something new. He also has a pair of eerily familiar striped tattoos across his shoulders. As your attention finally breaks away from the weird whiskers and tattoos, you realize that Bruce is clearly in a lot of distress. He's panting heavily, with deep bags under his eyes and a sickly color to his complexion. He's holding a cloth over his head which covers up one of his eyes, but the other one is angled down towards you, and look disgust piercing through you even in this weakened state of his. As he glares at you before beginning to speak, his voice was weak. His voice a weak, hollow whisper. Fred kneels down and starts to scan Bruce's body with his hands. What are you doing here? Get out of my house, Doberman. Mom. Mom. What? Wait. Fred holds his arms wide over Bruce, almost as if presenting him to Martha. Is this your mom, Martha? Martha nods slowly, kneeling down himself to grab Bruce's other hand, watching him with sad, worried eyes. Fred doubles over, cackling, nearly pressing his face into Bruce's exposed stomach before flopping backwards onto his ass, clutching his gut as his laughing fit continues. Bruce's one eye moves around from you down to the crumpled puddle cackling separate next to him, somehow mustering up even more disdain than when he was looking at you just a moment ago. Had I the strength, I would kill you both where you stand. No fucking way. I realize now that I may have given a somewhat poor description of what a mom is. Because, stop. It hurts. Stop it. Martha's face light up red. He sadly pressed his finger together while looking away. Why couldn't this just have killed me? Oh my God. That was the funniest thing I've heard in years. Maybe made being dragged naked out of bed completely worth it. Bruce, seemingly too exhausted to, or maybe embarrassed to respond, further merely growls harshly. So, I suppose that means Bruce is the one who's sick, just based on how he hasn't killed me yet. You know damn well I would, Doberman. Right. So, are you actually able to help him, Fred? I don't need your help. Psh. Yeah, easy peasy. Fred interrupts him as he finally manages to stumble back to his feet, resuming scanning Bruce's body. Looks like he's poisoned, and based on the severity of it, I've got to out or go out on a limb and assume it was from the hyena yesterday. A smile teasing grin spreads across Fred's face as he leans down towards Bruce's face. Guess you nipped you, huh? I'm surprised you managed to hide this so well. You must have been in quite a lot of pain. Bruce just frowns and continues to growl, offering no other response. Oh, that must have been what I saw when we got separated. Here, roll over. Let me see. With some help from Martha, Fred rolls Bruce over on his side. You walk closer and get a good look at a relatively small cut along Bruce's back, but it's a dark, sickly color and cackling with electricity. Yep. Thought so. That probably hurts like a bitch, but it looks like you slowed the poisons progressing through your system with your power. Smart move. Unfortunately, that's not cure. Lucky for you, I am. So whether you like it or not, old Fred's gonna save your life. He pats Bruce's shoulder as he rolls him back on to his back, then leans back as he resumes scanning over Bruce's body. It seems there's something you'll have to do for me. Bruce just growls at Fred, but Fred stands firm, since he's sure the target's no threat to him whatsoever. Chat, Martha. Both of you perk up and look up at him as he resumes running his hands over Bruce's body. I'm gonna need the both of you to go get me a sample of the hyena's poison. Wait, they can't. They can, and they will. Martha, do you know where your mom's Belser Grove is? Martha nods firmly as Bruce bares his teeth, earning another giddy grin from Fred. Good. Please take Chad there and get me some poison off the body. I only need a little bit, but be careful since I'm assuming it's still fairly volatile. Here. Fred puts his hand on the ground and the ground rumbles a little, followed by some strange, crackly noises from just outside the lodge. Don't you dare grow any of your. I grew you some coconuts outside. Use one of them to carry it back, and there's no need to sprint there or anything, but do try to be quick, yeah? Bruce won't die, but he's probably in a sick level of pain still. You got it? Martha nods enthusiastically and rushes past you and out of the cabin. I'll go then. Alright, take care of each other, okay? Sure, be right back. You turn around and follow Martha outside. You spot him standing at the base of the palm tree looking up at the heavy green fruits above. You walk up next to him and pat him on the shoulder. Don't worry, I got it. You throw a quick punch skyward, sending out your magical hand, tensing the muscles in your arm. You reach up with it. It takes you a second to get a grip on one of the two coconuts, but once you do, you give it a shake to free it from the branches. It pops off after a bit of a struggle, but so does the other one, and it falls straight onto Martha's eagerly upturned head before plopping on the ground at his feet. Oh my fuck. I'm so sorry. Your magical hand demanifests, dropping the other coconut to the ground behind you as you rush over to him. Hey, you okay? That sounded like it hurt. He looks down at you, seeming almost completely unaffected save for a single rub over his face. He casually grabs the coconut at his feet, balancing it in his hands as he examines it. Then he looks back at you, nodding confidently and giving you a thumbs up. Uh, well, so long as you're okay. Still, sorry. I'll be more careful from now on. Martha giggles and motions for you to follow him. Follow? Alrighty. Lead the way, big guy. Martha confidently marches off back the way you came and you follow behind him. You walk through the forest for a bit in silence, but it feels too awkward after a bit, so you decide to break it. So Martha looks over at you. This place where we're going, is it some kind of cemetery? Martha tilts his head. Cemetery? Oh, a cemetery is where we put people once they're no longer with us. You know, their final resting place. Actually, I don't want another mom misunderstanding. Rather, where we bury dead people. Martha seemingly understands you and nods. Is there a reason why Bruce kinda didn't want us to go? Martha shrugs. Sacred. Oh, it's sacred? Like some kind of holy place? Martha nods. Makes sense for a cemetery. Alright, let's try to be careful and not disturb anything then. Not like I'm in a particular grave desecrating mood. But the last thing I need right now is more excuses for Bruce to hate me. Martha nods again, and your walk is once again shrouded in silence. After making it back to the lake, Martha continues walking along the shore in the opposite direction before passing back into the dense foliage and taking a number of seemingly random turns. Eventually, you reach a tall stone wall, its surface covered in greenery. After checking to make sure you're still behind her, Martha approaches a heavy patch of bushes and vines, carefully moving them aside. He steps through into the darkness, waiting for you to join him before moving forward with his hand on your shoulder. After a short right turn, a few meters into the cave, you see more light pouring through the opposite end of the tunnel. Peering past Martha, the sight stuns you. It looks like a cave at first glance, but then beams of sunlight piercing through a dense canopy of leaves above tell you it's more of a natural bowl made out of stone, with a grove of trees nestled safely within. The trees themselves are unusual. The leaves are a unique shape and bear rainbow colors. Oh, and they're glowing. Each one of the trees is surrounded by an ethereal glowing mist, exciting particles swirling and dancing around their respective trunks and among the leaves high above. The entire display gives the artificial cave a dim, supernatural glow that takes your breath away. After a few more steps, you emerge from the short tunnel and walk forward into the mysterious grove. Whoa. They're so beautiful. Beautiful. This glow. It looks like those things Bruce pulled out of the monsters, doesn't it? Your very presence seems to be acknowledged by the glow. The trees rustle as if a light breeze is blowing through, causing the very trunks themselves to sway in an alluring dance. Martha walks slowly and carefully up to a large rock planted right in the middle of the path leading through the center of the grove. As you kneel down next to Martha, you glance past it, spotting two familiar monsters' corpses lying on beds of the colorful leaves, their hands resting up on their chests and holding the seeds Bruce had gotten from Fred. Just past him are two large holes, each marked by a chunk of wood planted in the ground like a tombstone. You figure those are their graves, and Bruce wasn't able to properly bury them before his body began to give out on him. Turning your attention back to the stone before you, you realize there's an engraving on it. May your requirement stand eternal. May your requirement stand eternal. You see that below those words are a series of numbers, each paired with a species: tiger, giraffe, dragon, deer, moose, crocodile, Monterey. I just how many people are here? Hey, Martha, are each of these trees? You glance over at Martha, but find him standing over by the hindest, body clacking the coconut back together. Just before it closes, you spot some dark liquid inside. Wait, when did you? Martha giggles and holds the coconut up, proud of his accomplishment. Heh, good job, buddy. Mind if I check something before we go? Martha briefly gets an impatient frustration flashed across his face, but ultimately nods. Don't worry, it'll be quick. I just want to check a theory I have. You stand out, dusting your knees off before stepping around the stone and following the path down the middle of the grove. You stop at a random tree, peering through the darkness at its base. Sure enough, there's another piece of worn wood at the base with a number carved onto it. 17. I think that stone out front said number 17 was a fox. So that means that each one of these trees does correspond to a body. What the hell? As you ponder the weight of the meaning this place carries, suddenly feeling tremendously out of place, a weird tingling sensation begins to caress you and snatch you out of your thoughts. You quickly realize that the glowing mist that surrounds the trees has formed long, delicate tendrils and is reaching out towards you. Suddenly panicked that you had somehow offended some ancient sacred rite with your presence, you look over at Martha for some kind of clarification or something, but he just stares at you with a curious glint in his eye. Is this normal? The tendrils reach out further, crawling gently around your arms. It's thankfully not painful, it actually kind of tickles. It seems like it's not a malicious response, at least. If anything, it feels like the mist is curiously investigating you. You lift your hand and move it side to side, the tendrils following your every move almost playfully. You chuckle to yourself as you play with the magic mist for a bit, but it's actually kind of fun. Mom. Alright. Sorry. Let's go, Martha. You carefully pull your hand away from the mist, watch it as it retracts towards the tree once you're out of range to resume swirling around the trunk. You rush to catch up with Martha as she slips back into the tunnel you initially came in through. You made it back out of the grove without much trouble. Begin the journey back. Martha's pace a bit faster than it was coming here. Even at this heightened pace, you still have some time, so you would probably be a good opportunity to undo your previous mistake. By the way, Martha, I think I may have accidentally given you the wrong idea of what a mom is, since Bruce definitely isn't your mom. Oh? Yeah, that was my bad, so let me try again. Well, Mom actually is. Once you finally make your way back to the lodge, you'll find Fred sitting in a chair next to Bruce, who has at this point covered his entire face with a cloth that looks even worse than before. Fred's attention snaps towards you the moment the door opens, his ears perking up as he flashes a smile. Welcome back, guys. Do you get it? Martha nods enthusiastically and jogs quickly over to him, handing over the coconut filled with poison. Fred pops it open and analyzes the contents for a moment, even going so far as to give it a hesitant sniff, then nods confidently. Nice, this will do. Good job, buddy. Fred pats Martha's head, causing the big out the buzz and looks away, his fingers pressing together. Fred returns to the chair, but keeps his focus on you. I trust it was an uneventful journey. Pretty much. We just went to this place that had a lot of trees and graves, and those are people, right? Fred tenses up, his eyes shifting down to Bruce, who at this point has once again lifted the cloth from an eye to look up at you. He seemingly ponders whether or not to answer for a bit before letting out a soft sigh, closing that one eye. Yes, Doberman. They are. At least, they were people. Once. Surprised by actually receiving an answer from Bruce for once, he stepped forward, eager to keep him talking. So then, how did they... Hey Chad, settle down, okay? Bruce has agreed to talk to you, but not right now. I'm gonna make some antidote, and once I've administered it, he's probably gonna need some rest. Knowing him, he's probably going to want to get it over with as soon as possible, so you won't have to wait long. Just be patient for me, okay, buddy? Half huff from Bruce seemingly voices his agreement, however begrudging to Fred's claims, so you resign yourself to waiting for now. Okay. Attaboy. Now, could you go outside with Martha and wait for me to finish this? It'll just take a minute. Without giving you a chance to respond, he turns his attention back to Martha. Martha, can you take him outside for me? No, I can rock on my... But before you know it, you're already being lifted up into Martha's strong arms. As she once again enveloped by his comforting grasp, your head pushes back into a soft neck fluff, and that pleasant Martha-specific scent in your will to complain melts away. Alright. For the record, though, I could easily have walked myself. Martha carries you outside as Fred chuckles to himself, and Bruce lets out another long, drawn-out sigh. Martha brings you over to the edge of the tree line, gingerly setting you down in the shade before plopping down next to you. The breeze rustles the leaves above your head, and you lean out and sigh, scooting a bit closer to the tree so you can rest up against it. I guess we just killed time now. Martha glances over at you, tilting his head with a peaceful relief look in his eyes before turning his gaze back up to the sky. Damn awkward silences. All that mess we went through yesterday. Is it like normal around here? No. Oh, well, that's good at least. I couldn't imagine having to deal with stuff like that regularly. Yeah. Either way, thank you for all of your help. I'd probably have wound up buried in that grove too if it wasn't for you. No. Why no? Thank you. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes more sense. Wait, you can say 2 words now? He looks back at you. He looks back over at you with a somewhat surprised look on his face. I can? Yeah. I can hear you say 2 words now. Martha giggled softly, a slight blush appearing across his face. Awesome. It's only been about a day, but at this rate, if we keep communicating, I guess, we'll keep leveling up, and before you know it, we'll be talking like the best of them. Leveling up? Oh, I mean, getting better at it. Not understanding you, he beams at you, clapping excitedly as his blush deepens. And suddenly, I believe that he seems so excited by the idea. So, Martha, you're interrupted by the sound of the lens's door opening, causing both you and Martha to quickly look over towards it. Fred steps out, lazily scanning the area until he spots you, walking over towards you once he does. Before you can stand up to meet him, he flops down onto the ground next to you, with his limbs all splayed out and a tired look on his face. How did it go? He lifts his hand up, flashing you a brief thumbs up before his arm flops back down. He'll be fine now. Bruce is a big boy. He'll have this paper cut shredded off by tomorrow. And if you're worried about the antidote, don't be. I've done this kind of thing before, so it worked like a charm. No biggie. Bruce? Oh, Martha wants to... Wait, that was him. Was that you, Martha? Martha nods. Huh, awesome. Wow, that is a weird feeling, huh? He can't read your mind, though, so you need to actually talk to him. Ah, cool beans. I could do that, no problem. Anywho, yeah, my antidote's working on neutralizing that poison. His natural immune system will handle the rest. After a nap, he should be back in working order, no sweat. You let out a sigh of relief, as much of a pain in the ass the guy is. Seeing how worried Martha is about him is enough for you to be glad he'll be okay. Good, so while we're waiting, you cut off once again, this time by your stomach loudly grumbling. While we're waiting, can we please go get something to eat? I'm starving. Yeah, I'm hungry too. How about you, Martha? Want some grub? Yes. What? How? You ate 3 people's worth of breakfast only a couple hours ago. A wistful look spots his eyes as his face lights up once again, probably remembering the most likely very delicious strawberry waffles he stole from you earlier in the day. Strawberry? Well, you probably wouldn't get as big as him just by having a salad and a diet water for lunch. Yeah, alright, fair. Fred quickly sits back up, a big grin on his face as he holds a hand out high. Either way, I got this. Fred slaps that raised hand down on the ground. A few moments later, a small tree sprouts directly in front of him, rapidly budding and growing very shiny, plump red apples. He plucks a few off the branches, tosses them over to you and Martha. Eat up, boys. There's plenty more where that came from. Oh, cool. As Fred winks at you with such confidence you almost see a star pop out of his eye. You take a big, eager bite of the apple and... Fuck. What the fuck? It tastes like dirt. From behind you, Martha also makes a spitting noise, and you look over your shoulder to see him staring down disdainfully at the apple, nearly bit cleanly in half. What, you have a mouth? I'm not white. It works fast, too. He ate 3 whole waffles in, like, less than a minute. But forget that. What the hell is this? You wave the gross apple in his face to make your point. All that confidence is working, and yet this tastes like crap. Sorry. I love seeing that reaction. Anyway, that's just how my powers go. Like I said yesterday, I could do everything but not anything. Or was it the other way around? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. The point is, I know you used to play a lot of RPGs and stuff, so can you guess what my powers actually do? Based on what I've seen, I'm guessing you can create anything plant related from the ground. Not only the ground, right, but I guess it's not just creating plants. You can also manipulate them too, like how you made a surfboard out of bark yesterday. Yeah, and I'm guessing the things you create look like the real things, but don't actually share their properties. I mean, no. If you can't replicate the properties, then The aloe vera you made yesterday wouldn't have done anything. Yes and no, but you're getting close, buddy. Good job. That's the way I want you to be thinking about things from now on, especially when it comes to other people's powers. And faster too, since you won't have time to and about it in the heat of combat. Okay, what's the answer then? Alright, so my plants are definitely the real deal. I can grow anything from nothing as long as I have a general understanding of the thing I'm growing. But that doesn't mean they don't share the base plant's properties. Like you said, if that was the case, the aloe vera wouldn't have worked. Though I will admit I did soup it up a bit with my magic. All that being said, taste is the only thing I keep struggling with. How so? At this point, Martha is also leaning forward and listening intently to Fred's explanation. I mean, look at that apple. Looks delicious, right? Even inside, it looks like it has the texture of a regular old apple. And I can assure you, if you could stomach it, eating it would give you the same nutritional benefits of a normal one, too. But for some reason, it always tastes like whatever I grow it out of. And that, in this case, the dirt. In other words, if I had a real apple, it's pretty handy. I could grow apples that match that in taste. Oh, okay. Fred nods and awkwardly scratches at his cheek. I've done a lot of investigating and experimenting to try and figure out why. I mean, it's my power, right? I need to know everything about it. I was never really able to figure out the taste thing, but I did figure out that so long as any food I make comes from any form of the real thing, it works. So basically, I could grow a full tree from just a seed, and that would work. That's why I'm always carrying some seeds around with me in my jacket. Oh, so that way you can just plant them, grow them, and then they can taste good? Exactly, it also doubles as a good way to keep my abilities honed, you know? I stay familiar with the process of doing all this from studying them and all. Cool. Right. I think it's pretty neat. Yeah, it is. It's awesome. Of course it is. It's my power. Also by proxy. Oh, hey, that reminds me. What can you do, Martha? Martha puts up and leans back, thinking for a moment. He raised a hand over the half-eaten apple in his possession. Then he raised that same hand over you, and you could feel a brief tingling wave wash over you. Did he just bless you or something? He extends the apple out towards you, eagerly. Try it. Okay. You take a bite and... Wait, what? It tastes like a strawberry now. Martha nods excitedly, rapidly clapping two of his hands together. Strawberries. Wait, really? Gimme. Fred quickly snatches the apple from your grasp and takes a bite, with Martha trying and failing to reach out and bless him before he does. Yeah. Fred struggles for a bit, and disgusted wince passing across his face. He does eventually manage to swallow it down. Though. Afterwards, he glares at you. Bitch. What? For me, it tasted like strawberries. Maybe Mama needs to do that hand wavy thing for it to work. You shouldn't have been so hasty. Martha nods and blesses him as well. Try. Okay. Fred gives the apple another bite. This time his eyes bulge as he eagerly chews it and swallows it. Holy crap, it does, though. How, though? Now, clearly it's because of his powers, though. I'm not sure how. As for why it's strawberries, in particular, I think he just really likes them. Martha nods and grabs some more apples, one for each of his 4 hands. Strawberries. Now that you mention it, the monsters were randomly attacking nothing yesterday. If that was Martha, then I have to wager a guess that his powers are based on the aspect of the mind. Aspect of the mind? I mean that he can use some kind of illusionary magic. Oh, So I didn't actually stop tasting. It didn't actually stop tasting bad. He just kind of fooled our brains to thinking it tastes like strawberries. Pretty much, yeah. Exactly. See, there you go. Ah, now that explains why Jenny couldn't see you or Martha this morning, and why Dusan and Thorley couldn't see us. Martha nods in proud affirmation. Good reason, Chad. Yeah. Although I think there's more to it than just that. Also a good way to think about it. Pretty rarely will someone's powers be fully apparent to you right away. So you have to think critically about what their powers are and what that means for the current situation while also being ready to adapt to new aspects to it on the fly. I mean, sometimes you kind of have to assume, but don't get complacent and let anyone convince you they don't have more tricks up their sleeve. When you say it like that, it feels like we're gonna have to fight against other people who have powers in the future. I mean, Dusan almost certainly has been influenced and has his own set of powers, so yeah, we will. Oh, good point. Fred claps his hands, loudly shattering the somewhat tense atmosphere that had begun to form. Anyways, let's call this session adjourned for now and have some strapples. Appleberries, whatever they are, to gorge ourselves on. Agree, you and Fred fill up your hands with strappleberries, just like Martha did, finally being able to savor the strange fruit. Now that the tension from Martha's panic about Bruce is gone and your stomach is finally getting filled up, your exhaustion is starting to catch up with you. With the sun warming your lower half, the breeze blowing peacefully through the leaves and the soft grass you're sitting on, your eyes start to get heavy once more. There's not really anything else to do but wait, so a little nap can't hurt, right? Without giving your brain a chance to come up with a reason not to, you lay yourself down on the grass, and the last thing you register before passing into blissful unconsciousness is the vague sensation of two more bodies joining you shortly after. You slowly perk up upon hearing the lodge door open. Your consciousness creeps back in response to you, and you snap back almost immediately with something soft lands with an audible next to you, followed by a grunt. Here, separate. I found the spare set of clothes you left here ages ago. Get dressed already. I'm sick of seeing you run around naked. Yeah. Oh, okay. I haven't seen these in a while. No wonder. Doberman, Martha, follow me at once. Bruce makes his way towards a large opening in the trees in the distance as Martha gets back on his feet with a large stretch. He turns to face you, helping you back onto your feet as well, while Fred's still struggling to get his bearings. Fred will just, yeah, go. I'll be there in a sec. Alright, let's go, Martha. Martha nods and turns, leading you into the same direction as Bruce. Passing through the opening, you find a smaller, though still fairly large, clearing planted in and past the grassless dirt are a few effigies made of scrap metal and wood, looking like stereotypical training dummies. You figure this is some kind of a training area based on the wear and tear of those dummies, as well as the general damage to the surroundings. Bruce is sitting on a wooden bench near the entrance, his eyes closed and expression somewhat tight. His ears flick in your direction as he hears you approach, looking back over his shoulder at you. Come, make yourselves comfortable. You quickly do as he says and move in front of him, sitting down on the grass at his feet. Martha follows suit, sitting down next to you and joining you in looking up expectantly at Bruce. Alright. After giving it a lot of thought and also being unceremoniously forced to, I decided to teach you how to properly use your powers. Geez, don't sound so excited about it, or I might start to worry you've actually developed a conscience of randomly attacking people. First of all, I like to clear the air. If you're spreading an apology, stop holding your breath. I'm not sorry for attacking you. I will, however, make a concession that I do not expect an apology in turn for you and the separate trespassing my mountain. I have my reasons, as I'm sure you do yours. And no, I will not tell you my reasons, so do not waste my time by asking. So, let's just do what needs to be done and get it over with. Do we have an agreement, Doberman? I guess. Good. As for you, Martha, I realize I haven't exactly been fair to you lately, so I'll ask that you pay attention as well, since this is just as important to you. As much as it pays me, yesterday told me in no uncertain terms that I won't always be able to protect you. So I want you to go forward with the proper knowledge of how to defend yourself. Are you okay with that? Martha nods firmly, apparently also looking forward to resolving a lot of unanswered questions. Before Bruce can say anything else, Fred finally joins y'all, carrying an armful of big leaves, similar to the ones he used to make a parachute yesterday. Bruce closes his eyes and takes a deep breath, then slowly lets the air back out. Both of Bruce's whiskers reach out and grab the leaves with the paws at their tips. Small arcs of blue lightning crackle across his whiskers, static pops echoing throughout the clearing. Air flashes of leaves are shredded into countless small pieces which remain floating in between the whiskers, more arcs jumping between them as they dance aimless patterns in midair. Before we begin, you need to understand the foundation of life itself, the raw energy that powers our very existence, mana. The aimless dance of the shredded leaves starts to adopt some sort of choreography, forming into vaguely person-shaped clusters, almost as if Bruce is using them to draw in the air. The name varies between times, cultures, places, even individuals. Life energy, ki, chakra, quen, aura. The list goes on, but they're all essentially the same. Mana is the very essence of life itself. It is impossible to exist without it. While mana flows through everything from the seas to the very air around us, living creatures interact with and subsist off mana through a structure of three different aspects: body, mind, soul. To qualify as a whole being, a conscious entity must possess all three. You might have different balances within you, but you must have them all regardless. A body, a cell, a base, a vessel, something that acts as a definition of your physical existence. Though it's easy to understand it as your actual physical body, anything made of matter can also act as a body. The mind, the engine of thought, the source of personality, and the medium through which the creature can develop intelligence, is the container for most of your memories as well. It is what definitively makes you who you are as a person. And lastly, the soul. It is a being's very core, what defines you as you in the rawest form. It's the part of you that converts mana to energy better suited for the mind and body you use. In other words, in its most basic form, mana is too raw and chaotic to be used as energy by your mind and body. The soul tames it, if you will, and makes it usable by the rest of you. Therefore, the soul is effectively the base of the three aspects that the other two spring from, and everything with all three aspects has always, without exception, possessed a soul at some point. Are you understanding everything so far? Yes. Good. Don't be afraid to ask questions if you're confused. I'd rather you grasp all this as efficiently as possible then have to go back over the explanation multiple times. You glance over at Fred after nodding to Bruce, finding him listening intently to Bruce's explanation with a surprisingly intense look on his face. Martha is the same, his eyes focused on the tiger. In order to be able to awaken your powers, you must fulfill two requirements in any order. First, you must be consciously aware of those three basic aspects. Specifically, you must know and understand that you possess them. And second, you must be influenced by someone who has the ability to do such a thing. Huh? Wait, does that mean I've been influenced already? But by who and when? Yes, you have already been influenced. Unfortunately, it's essentially impossible to tell who did it or when it happened. There are ways to vaguely guess who did it based on how your powers manifested, but there's no definitive way to tell. So does that mean I can influence somebody just by like passing them on the street or something? Not exactly. First of all, you cannot influence anyone. Only very specific people can, and it is very unlikely that you were influenced by mistake. The process of influencing is different based on the being that's doing it, of course, but generally it is something that requires a conscious decision by the influencer. And as far as we're aware, only a certain type of being is capable of doing it, though, as opposed to a probability of someone or something being able to do it without knowledge, without our knowledge is not zero. Regardless, it only really matters if the first condition is also met, which by itself is fairly rare. It can happen in variable ways. Generally, people know they have a body and a mind, but not a soul. Though people who are religious or just have faith in general, be it in themselves or some higher power, most likely able to realize they have a soul, or at least develop a general understanding of spirituality within themselves that will fulfill the requirement, or at least regarding the soul. In other cases, there are people who don't feel like their body is truly theirs, or who feel like they're not fully in control of their own mind. Those are just a few examples because of all of the numerous definitions, beliefs, and understandings of what each word means. It's fairly unlikely for there to be some sort of outbreak of powers, even if someone's going around influencing people carelessly. But once both of these conditions are fulfilled, whether or not you're aware of them, your power known as your Zoma will be unlocked. From that point on, it's up to you to discover what your Zoma actually is. I was lucky enough to get a helpful nudge in the right direction by certain people in the know. Who? Can't say. Why am I not surprised? Well, either way, I discovered mine by complete accident. That's fairly certain. As for Martha, he's actually been using it for a while without realizing it, which is another possibility. Martha nods, the point being, Doberman, that everyone's experience is different. Some can discover it by complete accident like you. Others can have it come to them naturally, since it's related to something they do fairly often in their day-to-day lives. There are even some, like Martha, who use it without even realizing they're using it. If they ever realize something is different, they may just attribute it to them being quite skilled at a certain thing. On the other side of the coin, discovering it can be quite difficult for some. It's entirely possible for someone to fulfill both conditions, be fully aware that they're doing so, and still not be aware of what their abilities are. So then, is your power or Zoma entirely random? Yes and no. Whereas the exact form of a power is wholly impossible to predict until it's discovered by the user, there is a way to make general guesses about how Zoma will manifest that are more or less accurate. A Zoma is defined as one particular thing at the moment of influencing its basic traits or decided jointly by the balance of three aspects in the influence being and the elemental affinity of the influencer. Speaking of the three aspects, time to see if you've been paying attention, Doberman. Hmm? Going off everything that's been said so far, what aspect do you think Martha Zoom is based on? Hmm. I'm thinking mine. I mean, he can make people invisible to others, speak directly into our minds, and change how stuff tastes, or I guess change our perception of how it tastes. Correct, well done. Naturally, a Zoma can be based on more than one aspect, though generally this results in a sliding scale of strength and versatility. For example, a Zoma based entirely on the mind, like Martha's, can allow for powerful illusionary capabilities. Conversely, a hypothetical power based on both mind and body, might allow its user to communicate telepathically and move things with their mind, but to a lesser degree than if it were two people who had pure mind, like Martha, and then someone who had pure body who could perhaps lift several tons with their bare hands. So, what do you think the separate Zoma is based on? You look over at Fred, who is staring at you with an eager, expectant grin. Well, since he can create and control plants and stuff, and plants are physical things, he'd be a combination of body and mind. Since I'm assuming it's a kind of telekinesis, like the hypothetical power you just mentioned. You know, all those crazy moves, all those crazy dance moves he uses to fight. Hey, I'm not dancing. All my moves are very well quick one and separate. That's what you're doing, man. While incorrect, it is a good deduction. You're lacking one simple piece of information. The soul also contains your element. Element? You did mention elemental affinity earlier. Actually, yes, there are six: earth, fire, wind, water, light, and dark. Generally, you're given an element during the process of being influenced, which is where the influencer's element comes into play. It's safe to assume that if you're influenced by someone with the fire element, you'll probably get the fire element too. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes you wind up with a different element. We're not entirely sure why. With that in mind, the separate powers are then based on the body, which you were correct about, and the soul, as, as the power is driven by Earth mana. Ah, alright, that makes sense. Though now I'm confused about myself, since I'm pretty sure my hand doesn't have any element. Not every Zoma is innately attuned to an element. We refer to those as non-elemental or physical Zoma. However, just because there isn't one doesn't mean you don't have an element. It's just that it's not being used. That, of course, doesn't mean that you won't ever be able to. It's just that most lack the knowledge and experience at first, or haven't thought creatively enough about how to properly use their mana. Though there are some beings that simply can't apply an element to their Zoma, but that doesn't mean they're stuck. There are multiple different ways to improve a Zoma beyond elemental imbuement. With enough know-how and training, even the simplest Zoma can have a variety of different uses and abilities. Though, like everything I've said so far today, there are exceptions, but they're rare so. For now, just focus on these elemental facts. Cool. Hopefully one day I can learn what my element is and use it. Being able to throw fire punches would be so cool. You might very well find out with enough training. But now though, you're getting ahead of yourself. Your utmost priority at this point should be understanding your Zoma both inside and out. Not knowing what you're even capable of is a surefire way to wind up dead. Once you understand your Zoma on an elemental level, or fundamental level, the possibilities open up and become nearly limitless, depending on your own creativity and determination. The separate, for example, started out being able to sprout a flower, but through years of training and study, he has managed to convert a very basic concept that are growing and controlling players into a powerful combat style that is both offensive and defensive. And beyond that, as you've always seen, he's even learned how to use it for healing purposes as well, which is but one of the many different uses his power has or can have. He's a prime example of what you can become when you fully understand what your Zoma can and cannot do. As for you, it's clear to me that at present your Zoma is exclusively based on the body, creating a physical object to be used as an extension of your own body. I'd imagine that after some years of training, you could learn to also use the mind so that your hand moves on its own, acting as an independent third limb. Oh, that sounds cool. I wonder if I can make more of them or manifest different shapes, potentially. That will be for you to discover on your own, though, since I have no way to directly push your growth into one direction or another. Something to keep in mind, though, is that you need to keep your ambitions about your Zoma in check. Using it isn't free, after all. It's entirely possible for your ideas to not work at all. How so? Every Zoma, as with everything else about them, has limitations or a case-by-case basis as well. Like me with growing food, or if we go someplace without any good surface for me to grow stuff out of. Exactly. This is why understanding your own Zoma is so important, so you can know your own limitations and be able to work around them. You might eventually one day figure out how to do a certain thing with your mind, but it's important to weigh the value of the time you put into it against its versatility. It would be a waste to spend months training a new power that is virtually useless in all but a very niche scenario. There are other basic limitations every Zoma has in one way or another as well. Most predominantly mana consumption, at least for the Zoma that use mana. Your body is constantly drawing in mana, be it from breathing, eating food, or even just ambiently through your skin. However, the process is gradual, and use as Zoma is not. You will rapidly run your body dry using your Zoma, and though your overall mana reserves can be expanded similar to growing a muscle that takes time and ambient mana, regeneration is not enough to sustain you in combat. Mana exhaustion is similar to physical exhaustion, but on a deeper scale, and its effects can be much more detrimental to the body. Like normal exhaustion, hearty meals and restful sleep can help restore it quickly, but as a separate soul, the needs can be deeper and more demanding. And running dangerously low on mana can be catastrophic, causing permanent, irreversible damage. A body-based Zoma exhausting its mana can lead to disabilities like muscular atrophy or brittle bones. The mind, which when exhausted, will become more fragile or unhinged, either erasing your personality or radically changing it. And as for the soul, its ability to absorb mana will be dampened to the point of uselessness, leaving you to slowly waste away to nothing, until you completely exhaust all the mana in your body. You die. Those two sharp words pierce you like cold steel, sitting a shiver down your spine. It sees you are not alone as Martha nervously looks down at his hands, a bead of sweat dripping down his forehead. Wait, is that why Fred wouldn't wake up this morning? Yes, the shepherd was no doubt close to reaching his limit yesterday, probably both physically and magically, let's say. It's all what you just learned, sinks in. You turn towards Fred, sudden panic racking your body. You didn't go too hard, did you? Fred's eyebrows bounce upwards for a moment. Before a smirk crosses his lips, and he chuckles. Yeah, I did push myself pretty hard yesterday. But don't worry, Chad. I didn't go so far as to cause any damage. Only lasting side effects or that I'm still absolutely starving and I want to sleep more. It's all good. Here. Good. Ruth's house, a small little half side type thing as he turns his hair away. I will say, throwing my pride away for a moment, I'm grateful for your help, Shepard. If you hadn't. He pauses as he notices the wide-eyed stares pointing at him from you and Fred. You both and Martha almost died like 40 times yesterday for his sake and then got dragged out of bed to come save his life while still weak. So it's nice to see all that hard work earning you some well-deserved politeness. But still shocked, Fred clears his throat, giving himself a moment to let his brain catch up before shaking his head. No, thanks necessary, Bruce. Just, doing my job. Well, either way, that's the extent of the lesson for today. Starting tomorrow, once I've fully recovered, we'll start your training. Wait, what? Me? Yes, Doberman, you. You need to be able to pull your own weight. I didn't agree to explain all this to you just because I care about you. It's because I don't want to bury more people in the grove. Yeah, oh, yeah, that sounds more like Bruce. The Sephir also told me of your little predicament. Though what happens beyond the scope of this mountain concerns me little. I at least feel partially responsible since that lion was apparently looking for me. If you fight again, you will no doubt find yourself a quivering, bloody mess on the ground once again, or worse. Wait, did Fred really tell him all those details? So, first thing tomorrow morning, I need you here. Okay? And let's make something clear. I do not like you. I have my reasons, and they are mine alone. But when it comes to Zoma and helping people understand it, I must make an exception as a sentinel. And I suppose I am indebted to you for looking after and protecting Martha. This will wipe that debt clean. Thanks, I guess. I mean, you definitely didn't need to point out you don't like me. You're not exactly hiding it. But thank you for explaining all this. It feels like for the first time in forever that I've actually gotten some damn answers. Anyhow, one last thing, though it is quite obvious, and I trust I shouldn't need to remind you further, all this information is of the utmost confidentiality. And always keep in mind that if people know your influence, will be a target. He points both his pointed fingers at each of his shoulders, trailing them back and forth across his chest. Which means it's probably a good idea to keep that mark of yours hidden. Mark, surely you've noticed those lines across your body. Every person with a Zoma has a mark like that somewhere on their person. Yours are quite noticeable if you're not wearing a shirt. Wait, what? How does he know about those? I really hope he hasn't been spying on me in the saddle or something. Although some are harder to spot, meaning it's not exactly a reliable way to identify someone with a Zoma at a glance. What do you mean? In your society, there are people who breed between species. This level of diversity has had a profound impact on your collective culture as a whole. Take yourself, for example. Your outward appearance is that of a Doberman, but your skull is different from a normal Doberman's, considering those tusks that are more reminiscent of a boar's. Yeah, I got these from my grandfather who was a boar. My dad is a Rottweiler, and my mom was a Doberman, though. Martha looks at you with a puzzled look on his face while you absent-mindedly poke at your tusk. As a byproduct of that melting pot of species and cultures, many different shapes and sizes of people are born, which in turn means different mixtures of patterns, hair, extra body parts, etc. so it's entirely possible that someone with a marking is just as easily a hybrid species as they are someone with a zoma, since a zoma mark could also be just a fur pattern or a hair color or some sort of deformity. The only real difference is where a hybrid difference could feasibly be removed surgically, or otherwise the mark of a zoma user will always grow back. Basically, you could put someone with a zoma next to someone without, whose mixed species, or even something as simple as having dyed their hair, and it would be impossible to immediately tell who has the zoma. Chad, when I first saw you, I just assumed your little hair thingy thing was some kind of a new hairstyle you had adopted after 10 years, even though that could have been a tell you had a zoma. You having one didn't even cross my mind until I saw your weird tattoos, though. They do stand out so much that it's pretty hard to deny. But then you could be like me. I don't know if you remember, but I didn't have this orange and yellow streak in my hair back in high school. Oh yeah, I also assumed it was just a new hairstyle or something. Man, you barely even have to hide that. Lucky. Yeah, it can be something as simple as that. Still, I try to cut it off or dye it or all kinds of stuff, but it always just either grows back or sews up somewhere else. With all the diversity we have nowadays, it's basically impossible to determine if someone has a zoma based on looks alone. Moral of the story is, don't be a species or just people based on their appearances. That being said, steer on the side of caution and be ready for anything, Doberman. At this point, it's only a matter of time before you encounter the wrong people. Though generally, the people who are aware of their zoma are good about it and keep it hidden away. There'll always be the odd silly person who takes advantage of it, but lately the amount of randos with zoma have been low. Like Bruce said, it's surprisingly rare for both conditions to be filled by the average Joe. But then again, Dusan wasn't on our radar at all. It's still not confirmed he has a zoma, but it's also hard to deny it at this point, based on what you and Kathy have told us. Right. If I recall correctly, Dusan also had some unique marks in his hair, just like yours, Fred. Same colors and everything. Does he? I haven't actually seen him up close yet. Does that mean he got influenced by the same person as you? Not necessarily by the same person, but we might share some similarities, yes. Oh, I see. There's a lull in the discussion as you all absorb the information that got thrown around. It's enough to make your head spin. After a few moments, though, Bruce takes a deep breath and speaks again. I believe that's all for today. Bruce gets up from his seat. If you have any questions, save them for tomorrow. For tonight, think long and hard about everything you've learned and try to apply it to what you already know about Zoma. Both your own and any others you may know of. Starting tomorrow, I need you to come back here at 11 o'clock. I'll explain some more then and clear up some confusion you no doubt still have about those monsters yesterday. Come back to the lodge when you're done, Martha. No rush. Evening. Bruce bows his head slightly, then turns and walks back toward his lodge without another word. Bye. Hey, don't look this gift horse in the mouth. He didn't insult you at all during that whole spiel. We're making big progress. He wasn't exactly perfectly polite, and he does take talking about Zoma very seriously, but still. Yeah, I noticed. Just give him some time. I'm sure he'll come around eventually. As long as he's not threatening to break my neck, I guess I can try and work with him. Good. What do you mean good? Ignoring you, Fred instead turns to Martha. Martha, I take it that you'll also be joining us for our training sessions? Yes, That's great. I've always wondered about the crazy stuff an illusionist can do. Martha nods, bouncing around enthusiastically. You wish you had that kind of energy still. Honestly, it's hard to tell whether you're still exhausted from yesterday or whether the weight of all this new information is draining all the energy as your brain races to process it. Well then, go get some rest because starting tomorrow is going to get a bit more challenging. Fred extends his arms, welcoming Martha for a hug. Come on, big guy. Martha quickly catches the idea and gives Fred a tight, warm hug. The big man's face is positively beaming as he does it, clearly very happy he's getting closer to Fred. Once Martha lets Fred go, the cheeky shepherd points towards you. A big toothy grin spreads across his muzzle. Now it's Chad's turn. Before you could get a chance to have any say in the matter, Martha is onto you, giving you an equally tight hug with all four arms. Even lifting you up off the ground a bit, you awkwardly wrap your arms back around him a bit before you just giving him a full hug back. He sets you down and takes a step back, his face still a beacon of precious glee. Thanks for that, Martha. Mother applauds and nods happily. We'll see you tomorrow, okay, big guy? Sure. Martha turns around and starts making his way to the lodge, waving back at you with two of his hands. Bye, Martha. Bye. He continues waving until he's out of sight, leaving you and Fred alone together. Fred lets out a sigh, puts his hands on his hips and turns to you, a smile still plastered on his face. Well, we should probably head back too. I'm still tired as hell, and I'd rather be in tip-top shape for tomorrow. Sounds like a good plan. With nothing else left to do, you both start making your way back down the mountain. About halfway down, a thought crosses your mind. Fred, I think we're gonna have to tell Jenny something, since we're staying at her place, and I doubt we're going to have much time to work at the cafe with all this stuff going on. I already offered to work for her before all this crazy stuff started happening, and can't just be an ungrateful prick and backtrack on that. Hey, no worries about that, Chad. We'll talk to her about it tomorrow morning. And I'm fairly sure she's got the understanding that the cafe stuff is kind of on pause right now anyway. I mean, she's helping us with Dusan too, remember? In her own special, silly specific way, yeah? Yeah. Remember what I said last night, just because you have a Zomewhere doesn't mean you can't live a normal life. I still need to get to work too, You make it sound so easy. I mean, it's kind of is, sure. It's definitely intimidating right now since you're just starting out, but once you get the hang of it, it'll come naturally. Then we can focus on other stuff, like getting your life back together and finding out what happened during those 10 years and all that. Right. Hey, let's make a quick turn here. Fred suddenly sharply turns and you follow him, only needing a few meters to recognize some familiar landmarks. Once you reach a specific spot, you realize, oh no, not this again. You notice the series of unturned routes that Fred has used to surf the tree bark down and out of the forest yesterday. It's the fastest way home I know of. You'll get used to it. Don't worry. Fred begins to set everything up once again. Still not a fan of it. Come on, Chad, you can't deny that it's fun. I mean, fun is subjective, Fred. Ugh, you and your semantics. Quit being a baby and hop on. We're probably gonna be pretty busy for a while, so let's try to make the most out of the free time we have. We'll go down, finally take a nice hot shower and get some real uninterrupted rest. We'll worry about Jenny tomorrow since she's probably busy now. Alright, at least I won't be going through all of this alone. Yeah, no worries, man. I'll be there to help you however I can. I'm sure Martha will be happy to help too. You let out a small sigh and nod as you reluctantly crawl up onto the tree bark surfboard and allow Fred to strap you in with vines. Yeah, just please don't leave me alone with Bruce. Don't worry, I'm not gonna let him do anything to you anymore. Anyways, ready to get wet and have another shower together? Wait, what? Fred interrupts you by launching you both down the mountain once again. Let's go. Whoa. You once again cling tightly to Fred's legs, holding on for dear life as you speed back home. You try to distract yourself by thinking about what kind of training you're going to have to go through and understanding what your zone might be like. But it's too difficult to think straight at the speed you're going, especially with Fred whooping as loud as he is. You apparently didn't learn your lesson yesterday as Fred sees W off the side of the woods again. Yeah, that wasn't nice. You continue to horse around on your way back to the cafe, enjoying the time you're spending with him, even if he can be a jerk sometimes. Once you make it back, Fred somehow manages to convince you with a surprising lack of effort to take a shower together this time. You spent almost the entire time with your eyes closed on or facing away while Fred kept being Fred. The very thought of him knowing how much you liked it was too much embarrassment to bear. Afterwards, you both head out for a late lunch, your heart thankfully able to tolerate that far more easily. When you two get back, stomachs finally full of real food, you take some time to go back over everything Bruce told you with Fred to clear up some confusion you still have. Once it's late enough, you both head to bed to finally get some well-deserved rest. It's hard to deny that what lies ahead is daunting. Nevertheless, you're happy that you don't have to go through it alone like the past few months. This time, you have Fred, the same goofy, sweet German Shepherd with a heart of gold that holds the honor of being the only one to thoroughly have stolen your heart. You want to say he's working to steal it again, but did you ever get it back to begin with? Being held by those familiar, warm, muscular arms, pulled tight to the warmth of his body, you close your eyes and let the peaceful embrace of sleep overtake you. Stop right here. I'm not going to go over this much because there's a dog nearby that's barking. It's kind of distracting for me, especially in the final 10 minutes. So I've been tripping over some words and constantly have to repeat the words over again. Anyway, we got to learn more about their powers and the fact that they have a Zoma, which is their power basically. And I guess the Z in Home Somewhere Else, which you see on the bottom right corner, I guess that's what it means. Somewhere else, them have a Zoma. Anyway, got to know about the powers and the different types of powers and the fact that somebody can influence others, and I think and it looks like Fred was influenced by somebody. I don't know who that somebody is. Could be that co-worker of his at the at his old job, the log place, where they cut down trees and make logs. Could be his old co-worker. Could he have powers of his own and could influence Chad? Could have been Chad himself. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But for some reason I think it might be for his old co-worker, that white furred looking wolf or lion or whatever. But anyway, so we learn more about Martha's powers, the fact that he can manipulate other people's mentally and manipulate their perception of things. Like when they ate an apple, it tasted like strawberries more than it tastes like strawberries, but not apple. They ate an apple that actually tasted like strawberries. Why? Because it didn't actually taste like the apple didn't actually taste like a strawberry, but Martha was able to change their perception mentally to the point where to them it tasted like the apple tasted like a strawberry, when the apple actually didn't taste like a strawberry. It was just an apple, or a really bad tasting apple. So that's a really cool and interesting power Martha has, and that also explains how Jenny wasn't able to see Martha or Fred, or how Dusan and Thorny weren't able to see them at all. Martha, he influences people's minds to the point where they don't see them. They don't see Martha and whoever he's bringing with. In that case, being Fred. So, yeah. I want to say more about this, but there's a dog barking, so I'm just gonna stop right here for now. So, I still wonder why Bruce hates, well, not hate, but why he still has a intense dislike for Chad. Though he did thank him for everything, and with him and his help and him taking care of Martha. So he did, for a brief moment, took a break from his pride and his strong dislike for Chad to thank him. But anyway, I wonder why he has such a dislike for Chad. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.